The case of Mohammed Osman Mohammed. He's accused of trying to bomb a Christmas tree lighting ceremony in 2010. Mohammed's attorneys argue he was trapped in an FBI sting and could not have attempted such a terrorist act on his own. The use of informants and sting operations is criticized in a new book. It is called The Terror Factory: Inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terrorism. Author Trevor Arrington is here, also with us senior correspondent John Miller, former FBI assistant director. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you say that we have captured few terrorists since 9/11 and manufactured many more. What does it mean to say we manufacture terrorists, or the FBI manufactures terrorists?
Many of the men that are being prosecuted for committing an act of terrorism or conspiracy to commit an act of terrorism are like Mohammed. They aspired to commit some sort of act of terrorism. They said hateful and odious things, but on their own, they never had the capacity to commit an act of terrorism. It was the FBI informant, or it was the FBI undercover agent who provided the bomb and all of the logistical means they needed to commit their crime.
John, you were in the FBI. You know many of the techniques there, and especially in anti-terrorism. Did you manufacture terrorists?
You know, I was in the FBI during most of the cases Trevor covers in the book, so there's a couple of things in context that are important. One is, after 9/11, the public, the press, the Congress, we're all pretty certain about, we don't want another situation where somebody goes out to blow something up and kills a lot of people, and we find out that their name was in your file and you knew they were thinking to do that. So the FBI works on kind of a matrix, which is, what is their level of intent to do some bad thing? That they're talking about, I want to kill people, I want to blow something up, I want to make a bomb. And then the other end of that diagram is, what is their capability? And where that meets is, if they are out searching on the internet, in a chat room, in coffee houses, at meetings for that capability, what would happen if you provided it to them? Would they actually go forward with it? And in these cases, and Trevor won't disagree with this, when the jury sees the videotape of them saying, yes, I could back out, but I don't want to, and then they press the button on the detonator of the big truck bomb in front of the school or the bank or the building that would kill all those people, and then they're arrested, at that point the jury's really not interested in hearing about entrapment, because they've seen intent and they've seen it made capability.
And even in the book, Trevor, the FBI agent that you talked to says when the sting is done correctly, they are given multiple times to back out, and they don't. So do the ends justify the means?
Well, it's important to realize that in many of these cases, they do offer an opportunity to back out. They say, are you sure you want to do this? But many of the men who are caught up in these sting operations, there are cases where they have been mentally ill, they have been financially desperate. In some cases, the informant offered inducements. In the case of the Newburgh Four, which are 4 men that were plotting to bomb the synagogues in the Bronx, the informant offered them $250,000. He offered the other man a barber shop if he moved forward in the plot. So there are examples where the FBI says to them, are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to press the button? And they say yes, but there are also other examples where the FBI maybe crosses that line and offers inducements as well.
Do I hear you guys agreeing on this?
No.
No.
not even a little bit. And you know, I come here every day as kind of a straight down the middle journalist.
Right.
I'm not being objective today because, I mean, Trevor,
so what's the biggest problem with the book is for you?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the book for a second. The book is an amazing piece of reporting. We'll agree on that.
Thank you.
Yes.
A stunning amount of research. He went through an enormous amount of material, and Trevor's very objective about laying out the facts of the cases and what the defendants actually did. So that's important. I think where we part company is the idea that if you kind of put this to the American public, which is if somebody plots to do that and then they show they're really willing to do it, wouldn't people want that person to be in jail, no matter what their situation was?
Yes, and you say one man's terrorist is another man's fool.
Exactly. You know, these people left to their own devices, evidence seems to suggest, and I believe suggests in these cases, that they are not able to commit their acts of terrorism on their own tomorrow, the next day, or even years later, because in most cases, they're financially desperate, they have, you know, mental problems. In several cases, the actual targets who are being the targets of these sting operations are running behind on their rent. They're about to be kicked out of their apartment, and the FBI gives them money so that they won't be evicted, so it won't jeopardize the sting operation. Is someone like that someone who's going to be able to acquire a weapon of mass destruction in the near future? I don't think so.
I would argue in that regard that if we take the cases where the FBI had no knowledge, the Zazi case, he was pushing a coffee cart on Wall Street when he decided to put 16 backpack bombs on the subways. Faisal Shahzad, the Times Square bomber, he was no superstar in life. Abdul Muttalib, the underwear bomber, was a misguided loner. You could look at any of the people who almost succeeded in killing masses of human beings and said, well, If we'd seen them at first, we would have said he's a loser with no capability. And that's not a risk that the FBI or I think a lot of people are willing to take.
Let me ask, does this idea have any merit? Arthur Cummings, former executive assistant director of the FBI National Security Branch, basically says that the FBI's true enemies aren't so much Al-Qaeda and Islamic terrorism, but rather the idea of Al-Qaeda.
The short version of that is the threat isn't really from Al-Qaeda Central as much as it's from Al-Qaeda-ism, which is, you know, the videos and the things on the internet that these people watch and see.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you.
Trevor Aronson's book is called The Terror Factory. It is on sale now.